Mr. Shourie, we have now a very strong response to the Hollande allegations from Dassault and the French government, both of whom say that they had absolutely no interference in the Ambani Dassault tie-up. To that you would say what? Were you convinced by their response?
No, of course not. Hollande was actually saying exactly this. He said we had no choice in the matter. We were left with no choice. We had to accept the partner which the Indian government or the Indians had pressed. So in a sense they are confirming it. It's a very cleverly worded thing. Of course nobody is saying that the French imposed Anil Ambani on Dassault. It is the Indians who did it, and not Indians in general, because we know that the Foreign Secretary did not know of this. We know that the Defense Minister did not know of this.
Right.
We know that the CEO of Dassault did not know of it. If you see his statement just 10 days before the deal was signed.
Right.
He was very happy, he said, with HAL.
But what about Dassault's claim that they chose Reliance? It was their choice.
Now you see, you have to see three things. First, as I mentioned to you, the statement of Trappier himself, the CEO of Dassault, just 10 days before the deal was announced by Mr. Modi, in which he says, I am so happy that the chairman of the HAL is here, we already have a working partnership with them, etc. And suddenly he is saying the opposite. So that is one point to remember. Second is, Dassault is an old company, an experienced company. And do you think that such a company would select on its own, without any pressure or instigation, a company that the group of which was mired in debt of 1,21,000 crores, whose company had been registered only 10 days earlier, who had absolutely no experience whatsoever in any defense production? And when we pointed, they said, oh, we have one, we just bought over a Pipavav, that port company.
Right.
And in that, Vasu, actually speaking, they are already in disputes. They have not been able to deliver the 5 offshore petrol vehicles, the vessels which they were supposed to give to the Navy.
Yes.
And the Navy is inconvenienced, is handicapped by that.
Yes.
Secondly, that very company has actually been now referred to the insolvency proceedings. You think Dassault would choose such a company?
No, but tell me, come to the core of the allegation. The core of the allegation is that Hollande claims it was conveyed to him by the Indian government that he needed to go along with Reliance. He's not supplied any proof of exactly who conveyed this to him. But in your understanding, as someone who's been in government, if this was true, how would this have been conveyed?
Well, while hugging Hollande, just whisper, Anil Ambani. The hugging was from the front as well as from the rear, if you see those embarrassing photographs.
No, but I mean on a more serious note, Mr. Shourie, how? On a more serious note, how would this have been? How would it have been conveyed?
You don't do it in a formal press conference style with all the officers listening. You just say, well, this is a reliable person, do it. And the other fellow, experienced politician, realizes that yes, there is some relationship between these persons and I must abide by that if I want the order. And please remember, on this question of Dassault and all that you are asking, why they are so readily making these statements which completely contradict their earlier statements, you must remember that at that time Dassault was in a very bad shape. People were not giving it orders. And this order from India was actually a sort of life belt for them. So if you just threaten them even by raising your eyebrows that this order may be cancelled, they will give you any statement today.
If I can just end by asking Mr. Shourie about what he makes of the political consequences of it, because so far, yes, it does seem to have generated some heat and some headlines, but is this something that could seriously damage the government, or has it not really managed to pick up that traction yet?
Well, the political consequences are, no government is brought down by a single issue. But the impression about a government is reinforced by such incidents. last week, the weeks earlier, it has been how Vijay Mallya went away from India, how Nirav Modi, how Choksi, how that fellow, the earlier Lalit Modi, how they always got to know in time from within the finance ministry that some proceedings were starting against them and they left. And how the notice against them was diluted in Malya's case.
Right.
So now, therefore, the impression is getting fortified. Two impressions. One, that this is not as honest a government as the Prime Minister would like us to believe.
Right.
And secondly, that you just can't rely on anything which they say. They just are, I mean, this whole word of Feku is coming back again. It's a fake government given to fake statements. So that is how the impression of governments change.